Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So when I was thinking about what am I going to do for some January videos, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about their January TBR. And if you know me, you know, me and TBRs just aren't, that's not a thing. When I tell y'all I am a chronic mood reader, I'm a chronic mood reader. So much so where like even trying to construct a TBR, it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Nope. However, I do have a lot of books on different apps and different subscriptions that I quite literally do need to read in January. And it's mainly because a lot of them are library books, okay? So though I don't have a TBR, I do have a lot to work with that quite literally I need to try to get done in January, because a lot of these are Libby holds that we all know how that's gonna go, okay? I'm not trying to wait on the wait list for some of these books for another 4 months. Like some books we are going to have to put in the January TBR, though we all know I don't like TBRs. So, okay, so the first book, I'm actually currently reading this right now. It's going to be Kindred by Octavia Butler. So this is actually my friend's book. She gave it to me to borrow, some months ago, and I just wasn't in the mood to read it. However, I had this also, I forgot I had this also as a Libby hold for the book that I could have on my Kindle, that version, as well as the audiobook version, because I actually had heard that the audiobook actually goes stupid with the book. So I really was like, okay, like I'm not in the mood to read it, but I also definitely want to listen to it because I want to kind of see what this audiobook is hitting on. So we are currently reading Kindred, both the audiobook version and the paper version. So that is a definite, I guess it's not necessarily on my TBR because I am currently reading it, but yeah, that is definitely one book. Up next is going to potentially be The Lost Apothecary. So I was gifted this book for Christmas and it is currently being shipped to me and I'm very, very, very excited to receive it. However, that's another book that I had on my Libby hold forever ago for the audiobook because it sounded like it would be something cool to have while I was in the car. Just based off of how the people feel about the book, but it also gave such cozy vibes that I felt like it would be a fun book to have my headphones in while I'm in bed with the physical book, and I was gifted it for Christmas. So though it is due in 8 days, I do think we can squeeze it in there for a January read because I'm not trying to, again, I'm not trying to wait however long it took me to even get The Lost Apothecary. I'm not trying to wait. I'm not. So we need to get it done. All right, next up is The Collector of Burned Books. I have been hearing things about this book for a very, very, very long time. And so I'm very intrigued about this book. I will be reading that on my Kindle. It is a Libby hold. I don't have an audiobook version for that. I just have the book. That one's due in 2 weeks. Y'all know how Libby is. That's one of the books I was just notified about, I think literally today, that has now become available. So that one will most likely be on the January TBR as well. I could have sworn I had the physical version of that book, but I do not. So either way, it's fine. If I really love it, I will definitely be purchasing this book because I can see if I love it, it'll probably be something I'll want to reread next year. So yeah, that's another book. And this book, I know someone's gonna squeal when they find out the next book, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I've had The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna for 2 years. I got it for Christmas 2 years ago and I never read it. And there was honestly no reason. I just was like, this is a book everyone's raving about. In fact, all Kristen Hanna books people have raved about. And I own, actually, let me see. I definitely own The Nightingale. That should be behind me. So I have The Nightingale and then I think I have The Women somewhere on my big shelf. Not getting up to pull that down, but I have The Women too. And those are 2 books I wanted to start with before I bought the other ones because I know there's more. However, I knew this was a book I was going to have to tackle with the audiobook as well. It's a dense book, okay? This is just one of those things where I just knew I would need the audiobook with it. I just knew. I know how I am. I need the audiobook for this because this is what 500. Yeah. It's like 563 pages, which is not as long as Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois, but I had the audiobook with that one as well. So, now mind you, that's just on the Libby app. let me tell y'all what I have on my Kindle that I'm trying to knock out in January as well. And these are more so just things I'm speculating I could potentially read in January, but that's if I choose to really lock in and actually read them. So one of the books is going to be Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I don't know if I've said this at any point in time since I've had a booktube or bookstagram, to be quite honest with you, but there's a YA series called The Naturals, and I started that series. I read the first book of that like 3 or 4 years ago because it seemed like a really easy read in the sense of just something that's not too dense, too deep, you feel me? Just something a little lighter. And that's saying a lot because like the title's called Killer Instinct. However, just something a little bit easier to read because it is a YA. And I was thinking about that series some weeks ago, and I was just like, I should finish that series up in 2026. Just wrap it up. Now, I know it's not an official 2026 goal of mine, but like I low-key do want to try to finish up a couple of series or start and finish some series in this calendar year. Like I don't necessarily love the fact that like there were series just out there that I just started and never finished. And my goal last year was to wrap up a couple, and I did. Actually, I did make that goal of wrapping up like 4 series, whether I started them last year or not. Bringing them to a close was the goal, and I'm doing that again this year. So there are, I think, 4 or 5 books total. This is only book 2, but like I said, they're relatively easy reads. They're not hard to read. I'm 33% into the book, so this is something I actually have already started, but I'm not necessarily like I have to. I mean, I'm intrigued and I'm like locked in, so I do want to finish it up, but it's also kind of one of those situations where like if it takes a back seat, it takes a back seat. Like I'm not that pressed. So that's one. And another one that I'm interested in potentially reading this month, if I can see about it, is an arc that I have called Life, a Love Story by Elizabeth Berg. I do want to try to read that one this month, just so I can go ahead and form my thoughts and opinions about it, because I do want to actually put my review out there and just kind of go ahead and discuss it before it gets published. So I do want to also, you know, take the time to prioritize some arcs that are just looming over my head to complete. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that like people are kind of waiting on my thoughts and opinions. So that is like what is at least my starting point for January. These are my options. So like these are things that I think I'm going to want to be in the mood to read for January. Potentially, probably, sort of, could, potentially, perhaps, maybe. Makes sense. But these are like definitely books I'm not committing to. These are things I would like. My Libby holds, I would love to see those get knocked out within this month, because like I said, for some, I already have had them just in there for a couple of days. Like I'm down to like the wire of finishing them, and others I got 2 weeks. So like I don't necessarily feel like going through the rigmarole of waiting however long to get these books again. I want to knock them out. But also, hey, if I got to get back in the queue, then unfortunately I just got to get back in the queue, and that's just going to be what it is. Again, very non-committal. And I know you could like suspend some things, but it's like they all just popped up at once, and y'all know how Libby is about that. And I was just like, well, I mean, I do want to have options in case there's one I don't want to read, you know? Like, I don't know, guys. I'm one of those people where I actually don't like it when I have like only 1 or 2 books on my Libby. Like, I need to have options. I need to have the options. So I actually do like the fact that there's like several I can kind of pick from, because sometimes I'm just not in the vibe for a certain book at a certain time of the day as well. Okay. I am very much the type of person where I may have a daytime book and a nighttime book. Okay. Like I literally today just finished Men We Reaped by Jessamine Ward. That is not a nighttime book. Okay. So I had to finish that one before I went to bed tonight because I wasn't reading it tonight and I was so close to finishing it. So it's like things like that where it's just like, I just need to have options. I need to have options. But those are my options for January. We'll see how many of these I actually end up reading, liking, enjoying, because whatever gets done will be in the wrap up at the end of this month. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed at least seeing what I might potentially be reading this month. Like I said, I was seeing the girlies and the guys do TBRs, and I was like, well, I don't commit to TBRs, but like, I at least want to tell you guys what I might read this month. Potentially. We'll see. But yeah, friends, that is it for today's video. This was quite literally all I wanted to talk to you guys about is my January TBR plus my current reads. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to share what are some books that you are either currently reading or going to read in January, or if you have a full-blown January TBR that you want to share with the class, feel free to do so in the comments, or you can tell me on Instagram, TikTok. I don't care. I'm very interested to see what you guys are all going to be reading in January. But yeah, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, on the Etsy shop as well. I think I've already stated this in my previous video, but if I haven't, please check there for some clearance items over the next few weeks, because I probably will not be putting up new merch until late February, early March. There may be a Valentine's Day rollout for some book merch. Not 1,000% committed to that yet. But regardless, just check back in, because I will have some clearance, some sale stuff going on pretty soon. And I want to make sure you guys at least know about the sale. If you want to get some like maybe early Valentine's Day gifts, birthday gifts, there are some things that I'm going to be putting on clearance just to kind of get them out to make way for some new merch. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye.